I decided to make a Jasper University YouTube channel because of all the lies that are going on in our universities and to help expose that. I mean, one thing for sure is that there are a lot of lies that are being perpetuated, and that universities are basically brainwashing centers for the to perpetuate the lies and to control um, the world government agenda and lies with an iron fist through our schooling system. So I'm just an example of lies that are going on is like archaeology. We don't know anything about this, really. They just keep on saying, "Oh yeah, we evolved from amoebas into apes and into humans." And there's no evidence for it. There should be evidence between, all bushes to trees, amoeba, everything should be evolving into everything. It should be all through the fossil record. It should also still be happening if the theory of evolution is possible. I mean, it should be an infinite number of missing links everywhere. And they're still calling it a missing link because there is none. And the Lucy ape that they have in the Natural History Museum in New York, Museum of Natural History in New York, I've seen it. I've been to the exhibit, and it was a jawbone that was put onto a human skull. They found out it was a hoax, but they're still teaching it in every university in the world. What's even crazier is that it was done by a Catholic priest, and the Catholic Church has been saying since even before that we they've been behind the whole theory of evolution for a long time. They're basically completely uh, undermining spiritual spirituality and beliefs in gods and Buddhas for some reason. I think the Catholic Church for quite a while now, at least 150 years, because that's when Darwin uh, and all that came about, and communism. Darwinism and communism came about at the same time, in the same place. Origin of the Species, uh, printed in England 150 years ago, and Communist Manifesto, printed in England 150 years ago. In German, it was largely it has all has to do with Europe and Italy. Like the hoaxes that were created, like Lucy putting ape jawbone on a human skull, was done by a Catholic priest and another guy, which is just crazy, And then all the popes since then have said, "Oh yeah, Darwinism makes sense. Evolution. We should accept this as a fundamental part of our religion." There's no evidence for it. The only evidence there ever was a fake. It was faked, and there is no evidence in the fossil record. Anyways, look at this. These are huge structures from like way before, way into prehistory. Um, the uh how did they move them? We can't even move them with today's machines. And so obviously they were created by something very sophisticated, very advanced. There's evidence on the ocean floors, that the oceans have moved, and there's huge structures just like on the surface of these huge stones that are bigger than what we can move today and with precision better than what we can make today. And there's aluminum, there's all kinds of things, there's nuclear reactors that they uncover. And that is all being kept from our universities. And so I'm going to talk about stuff like that. And if you look at this is us right here, present day man, 6 feet tall. And you'll see that there is evidence. See, it's being uncovered all over the world of these huge skeletons. From what I understand, it's the gods and Buddhas were trying different sizes of humans at different times for different reasons on the earth, and then they cause a calamity to get rid of them with their Morality is whatever. It falls too far down, then they destroy them, right? And restart. This was part of it, as a giant. They were real, but this isn't being taught. We're, you know, what's being taught in the universities are all complete lies based on hoaxes. And anything that's truth is hidden, because it gets in way with their lies. And so anything that gets in the way of their lies, and they have to hide. This is in Ohio, in the U.S. Um, I mean, that skull is like half his body. It's tall, it's huge, you know. So yeah, sometimes you hear about it, um, but not so much anymore. Maybe other parts of the world where it's a bit more freedom than in the Western world, where everything's controlled even more than ever. You might hear about it, but I mean, we never hear about this, but it's real. It's there. There's evidence. There's no evidence for evolution, other things that are being taught in the universities, and yet, um, uh, you say, "Oh yeah, evolution isn't true" or whatever. The university students will be up in arms. They'll be like, "What are you talking about?" As if it isn't true, because they're so brainwashed. But they they can't think anymore, because in the universities they're told you have to repeat what you're told. You have to repeat this. You have to, if you say anything different, then you don't get a passing mark. If you say we uh, uh, there's evidence for this theory of evolution, blah blah blah, you get a plus. You get a pass. You get a good job, whatever. You start talking about things like uh, ancient civilizations that were advanced or anything like that. You fail. You don't get a job. You are pushed down. Maybe you're killed. Things like that. I mean, really, they're just these things are excavated and destroyed. But on social media, sometimes we can get some of these things. Um, uh, to be uh, we can find out about these things. Um, Here, ancient evidence of a nuclear explosion. There's evidence of nuclear reactors, um, of strange metal, like and ancient aliens. All the hieroglyphics, things like that, have pictures of UFOs and whatever. I've seen a UFO in Montreal. I saw whoosh, 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 across the sky and then disappeared over the horizon. I mean, these things are real. My grandma saw a flying saucer. My grandma and grandpa saw a flying saucer hover above their car for a while and then take off in the Rocky Mountains in BC. Uh, Once they told me about that. Uh, but you can't talk about it. You're not allowed to talk about it. Um, they were talking about UFOs during World War II. All the newspapers in the world were saying, "Oh, there's UFOs flying around Allied planes," blah blah blah. 10 days before World War II ends, like every newspaper in the world was talking about it, and then World War II ends, and nobody's allowed to talk about it from that point on. Project Paperclip, whatever. Where did we get our technology from? We did not get it from Europe. I mean, that's what they want you to think. They want you to think that Europeans created all this technology. That's why they hold all the patents. That's why it's being kept secret so much, so that the Europeans can keep their lie up that they created the technology for our computers and whatever. And this is not the case. This is not the case at all. We got our technology by making deals with extraterrestrials on whatever levels. Um, if you look at your typical alien abduction story, they all have the same things. They see reptilians, greys, and what do you see here? Nordics, blonde hair, blue eyes. You don't see Chinese. You don't see African American. African. Like you don't see Jewish. You don't see anything like that. You see Nordics, blonde hair, always. Every alien abduction story. Why are they all talking about the same thing? They're all doing genetic experiments too to try to mix the races um, between alien and human. It's always trying to make a hybrid alien human. That's why they're trying to mix the races so much. That's where the term racism came from. It came from Russia. Russia has put the first satellite up, Sputnik, right? Um, Anyways, what's really going on is so different than what we think. I mean, Hitler and Stalin were going hand in hand during World War II. From before the time of World War II, they'd make deals how to divvy up Europe and whatever before World War II happened. And then Stalin's like, "Oh yeah, we found Hitler," and then a month later he's like, "No, we never found him." They were working together the whole time. That's how big the hoax is. World War II was a hoax. I mean, I'm not saying that Jewish people weren't targeted. I'm just saying that it was planned from before with Russia and Germany. Russia and Germany used to be all one country. Prussia. Prussia was all the way from, all of Russia and then down into Germany. And several hundred years ago. I don't know how long ago. Anyways, this is what really is going on. Henry Ford Henry Ford created the Ford Company in the U.S. and he was given awards by the Nazis. Um, and then and then now World War II ends, and every police force in the world uses Ford cars. I mean, I'm talking China uses Ford cars, Europe, North America, everywhere. Every police force in the world. I mean, I see it everywhere. If you look at pictures of police forces, just go police force in the world. Either they use Ford cars, Volkswagen, or something very. Anyways, it's strange. But then our media is saying, "Oh yeah, demonizing the Nazis or whatever." I'll go into all that with this because I put it together. Some of it I've made sense out of it. Some of it I haven't because I mean it's just I haven't put all the puzzle pieces together yet. But what you look at is the truth. What you look at is the facts. What's really around, what's really being hidden. And instead of just blindly believing what you're being told, if you look at the actual facts and what the evidence is showing, all the alien abduction stories are saying the same thing everywhere in the world. Well, it must mean something, you know. We should be able to talk about it. We should put this together, and we have to. We have to start putting this together. We have to find out what the truth is. That's what I wanted to do. Is try to create like we have to almost make our own universities, our own schools, because we're just not being allowed to do this. There's a good documentary done by Stein. What's his name? Anyways, it's called uh, Expelled, No Intelligence Allowed. And I'll put the link in the description box. It's a really good documentary about how in the US, if you say we might have been created, humans might have been created um, by something, you know? Obviously we were. Obviously we're an experiment of the gods and Buddhas. We're being created, destroyed, whatever. We're the hands of something bigger than ourselves. Um, if you say something like that in university, you're fired automatically. If you say that Darwinism doesn't really make sense, you're fired. And this is a documentary on this. It's a very good one. I highly recommend you click the link in the description box and watch it because um, it's very, very compelling to show how brainwashing our universities are, um, and how extremely controlled with an iron fist they are. So, anyways, this is I'm going to start going into various types of lies that are being perpetuated in our society, and um, chronicling them on this YouTube channel.